Hey YouTube, this is Sergio. I thought I would make a quick video on how I was able to purchase 16 properties without using any type of credits. So the first property I purchased was back in 2010. It was my homestead for 3 years. This is the street. I didn't put the exact address. Just to make it difficult if you're trying to look for me. I lived there for 3 years. It was a mobile home and a lot. My parents sold me the property. Well, they gave me the mobile home. I took over payments on the lots. So I lived there for 3 years, and then I moved, and it was then rented for $650 a month. I bought it for $31,000. Only the lot, of course, the mobile home. Once again, my parents gave it to me. And I sold it a few years later, about 5 years later, for $33,000. So I made $2,000 profit. I feel that I made more profit than $2,000 because a lot of the rent was paid down by the tenants. So the day I sold it, I kept a lot more than $2,000. The property was almost paid off when I sold it. And in 2013, I bought. Well, this one was takeover payments. That's the way I was able to purchase this property. And the property number two, and the reason these properties are in yellow is because I no longer own them. They have been sold already. So this one, I already sold it. I sold it cash to a cash buyer. And this one, the second one, it was my homestead again for 3 years. It was then rented for $11.50 a month. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, a brick home, a nice small home, about 1,100 square feet. It was a nice starter home for me and my family. I bought it for $92,000 back in 2013, and I sold it for $88,000. The reason I sold it for so little is because I sold it back to the same person that sold it to me. I had a loss of $4,000. The reason I did this, and I just sold it a few months ago. As you can see here, I sold it in June of 2019. I sold it to get into another property, and I needed the cash, so it was my only option. And I do have second thoughts. If it was the right decision, but I try not to think about it. Once I make a deal, I mean, it's gone, and there's no purpose on banging your head on the wall if you did a mistake. I mean, if you did do a mistake, just learn from it and move on. So this property, it was an owner finance deal. I gave the owner $8,000. Oh, he's actually an investor. I gave the investor $8,000 down, and he financed $84,000 at 10% interest. So at that time, I had no credit. I was much younger. But this was 6 years ago. I believe I was in my early 20s. I was just out of college, and I think I gave him I think I saved up 2 income tax returns, and I was able to accumulate the $8,000, and I bought this house. So while I was living here, as you can see, for 2 years, I became basically like an accidental landlord, because I was renting my mobile home for $650 until 2015, until I sold it. And while I was living here with my wife and kids, I got the taste of landlording, and I liked it. I liked collecting the check, the rent. So when I sold, well, no, not it was not when I sold it. It was before. Before I sold this property, I found another investor who sold owner finance houses also. He had a $34,000 house. It was a mobile home with an addition. He wanted $34,000 with a lot, mobile home, and the addition, and it was rented for $600 a month. So I gave him, I believe it was $4,000 down, which I saved from my house, from my job. I was at that time I was working in a transportation company. I was making about $35,000 a year. So little by little, I was saving $50 every paycheck, and then I was saving about $200 that I was getting over the mortgage here. I was cash flowing about $200. So I saved about $4,000, and I was able to purchase this property. I rented it for a year, and in 2015 I sold it for $49,000 cash. So I paid off the mortgage. It wasn't a mortgage. I paid off the investor, which had the notes, and I made $15,000 profit. So it was a good profit. The whole year that it was rented, I was making like $100 cash flow per month, and once it was paid off, I made some good money. So before I sold this property, I found on Craigslist 2 houses on one lot, which is the property number 4. The nephew was posting the ad for his aunt. One of the house, it was 2 houses. They were both rented. It was a rental property. They were separate dwellings. The front house had been in a fire, so the whole kitchen had burned down, and all the house was had smoke penetrated on the drywall, and it was an older house, so all the wiring was the old copper wiring. So I was able to talk them down to, I believe, about 40,000, but we then negotiated for 38,000, and I gave them 5 down, also 5 down, and I was gonna pay them $1,000 per month, which was a lot of money at the time. $1,000. I couldn't cover it with my day job, that $1,000, but the house in the back, I quickly rented it for $750 a month, for $950. I'm sorry, for $950 a month. So I was only putting $50 out of my pocket, and little by little, I got a Home Depot card, and a Lowe's card, and I was able to fix the house in the front, and I was able to rent it after maybe investing on it maybe $15,000 to $20,000 in about a year. I was able to rent both houses for $950, so I was getting pretty good cash flow. And when I sold this first property in 2015, I paid off this property. So I only kept the mortgage with the guy. It was an owner finance mortgage. I only kept it for 11 months because I bought it in January, and then in December, with the profits of this property, I paid this property off. So once the property was paid off, I was cash flowing about $1,500 to $1,800 a month. I was making pretty good money. But my sister wanted this property. She wanted to start investing, so I sold it to her. Both properties fixed up and everything all nice for $100,000 with an owner finance note. So you can say I made $62,000 profit minus, let's say, $20,000 rehab. Maybe I made $42,000. but I was gonna make more money because this was I sold it on owner finance, so I was gonna be making monthly interest. And I say it was because well, you'll see right now why. let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fifth property. So the fifth property, I saw it once again in Craigslist. Craigslist has been so good to me. Every single day I search Craigslist. Even if I don't have any money, I search Craigslist just to see what's out there. I've gotten a lot of deals. I can't complain. So the fifth property, I saw on Craigslist the ad that they were selling a house for 90. I think they wanted 100,000, but I brought them down to 96,000. It was a nicer home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage home. So I was able to pay him $8,000 down. I think I gave him 6 that I had, and then he gave me a month or two to give him the other 2,000. And then I quickly rented it, and this property I still own. So that's the reason this property is on yellow, because I still own it. I got a 10-year mortgage. The property does not cash flow. I have to put maybe like the rent covers the payments. I have to pay the taxes and the insurance out of pocket. He gave me a 7.5% interest. So most of this owner finance properties will not cash flow. It's very rare that you will find properties that will cash flow. And the thing is that you're not financing them for 30 years like a regular mortgage. They're usually 5, 10, 15-year mortgages, and the interest is higher. So it's not the best deal that you can get. I mean, this is for people that do not have credit and that they want to start investing. There is a way. A lot of people say that you can borrow a credit from somebody else, or you can partner up, the JV, that you venture up with somebody. But this is doing it on your own without the help of no one. This is the properties are going to be on your name without credit, even without I want to say even without Social Security, for people that are not that are not legally here in the States. I think they can also buy property this way, but I would have to check on that. I'm not sure, to be honest. So this property, I still own it. It was a 10-year mortgage. I bought it in 2016. So I still have about 6 years more to go. And then in 6 years of sacrificing, in quotes, of paying the insurance and taxes out of pocket, in 6 years this property will be mine, and then I will start cash flowing all of the rents. So the way that I invest is not the same way that everybody invests. I mean, everybody invests different. I do not invest for cash flow. And one of the YouTubers that I watch is Meet Kevin. He said it, and he just made a video, and he said it that he doesn't invest for cash flow either. And I agree. I'm the same way. I don't invest for cash flow. I invest for net worth. My plan is to grow my net worth in 5-10 years to have a few million net worth. And with having a 5 million net worth, I mean, of course you can reorganize your portfolio to make it cash flow. So right now I have my business, and I depend on my business for money. So my convenience store business. So I don't depend on my real estate for cash flow. I reinvest all of the profits, if there is profit. The sixth property that I bought without any credits is my homestead. I bought it in 2016, 3 years ago. I still own it. I live here. I did not write the whole street address for safety purposes. But I bought it for 155,000, and I still own it. Right now I owe about 120. This is a takeover payment. So this is another wonder that I found in another gem that I found in Craigslist. The guy moved to New Mexico for he was relocated on his job, so he couldn't carry both mortgages, and he was tired of renting it out. So I took over payments on that property. I'm still paying it under his name. We have paperwork to protect us both, but right now the mortgage is still on his name, and I gave him 18,000 down. I did not have all the money together, so I think I gave him. I think I talked him down to give him the mortgage payment, which was around 1,200 plus 1,000 a month for 18 months to cover the 18,000. But after a few months, I don't remember which property I sold, and I paid him off the I think it was like 10,000 that I still owed him. So I already paid him his portion of the equity, and I'm paying the property. It was a 30-year mortgage, and by the time I bought it, it was like a 26 years left on the notes. Right now, I'm paying it off to be paid off in 8 years. I'm putting more towards the principal so it can be paid off in 8 years. I'm accelerating the amortization. So in 8 years, this property will be mine. Right now, it's worth around 220. So the market has been good. It's been going up. So this property number 7, I actually bought. It was a referral from my parents in properties, and they met this lady that had about 3 or 4 properties in Laredo that she wanted to get rid of. I believe her son had some sort of illness, and she couldn't get coverage, and that was the reason she sold this property. So I was able to talk her down into owner financing this property. It was a mobile home on a huge lot. The lot was like I believe it was like 14,000 square feet lot. It was a big lot. It had an improvements, like a 20 by 12 storage room, and then it had a double wide mobile home. The mobile home was rented when I bought it, and the storage was vacant. So my plan was to, well, I had started fixing the I think I put like about around $1,000 towards the storage. I added a restroom, and I was gonna rent it out, maybe $500 a month. I bought it for 82. I gave the lady 17,000 down, and once again the money from the top of my head, I don't remember from which property, but it was probably another property that I sold. So I bought it for 82,000. I gave her 17 down, and a month later I put it on Craigslist just to see if there was any interest, and a month later I sold it for 105. So in a month I made 23,000 profit, minus 1,000 that I put in the storage. So I made 22,000 profit. So it was a good month, and it was gonna be an owner finance deal for 8 years, but I sold it for I got the cash. I preferred the cash, the 23,000. Sometimes sometimes I repent from selling the houses, because once you sell it, you no longer have any part of it. I mean, if the property goes up in value, I mean, it doesn't benefit you once you sell it. But thanks to selling this property, I was able to purchase this property, which is a store, number 8. The real estate is a convenience store, and it has a food stand on the outside. So this property, I bought it for 267,000. Once again, this property I saw it in Craigslist. I just saw the Craigslist ad, a convenience store for sale, start making money on day one, and I was intrigued, and I went to see it, and I liked it, and we were able to make a deal. So the way I bought this store, he wanted the man wanted $90,000 for this. He was willing to owner finance, but wanted $90,000 down, and I didn't have $90,000, of course. I only had the $22,000 from this sale, and maybe a few more grand, but I didn't have $90,000 in the bank. Quine, like a lot of people say, most of the time investors are broke. They have other monies tied in assets that we're broke. We're not poor, but we're broke. So the 90,000, I actually was able to give him 20,000 down, and the 70,000, I transferred him the notes that my sister was paying me. My sister owed me. She gave me 20,000 down here. She owed me 80, but she had made a few payments. I think she owed me like 78 or 77,000. So the guy took over that note and gave me credit for 70,000. So I lost 8,000 in that deal. I didn't exactly lose 8,000. I lost from making it. I didn't make the profit, in other words. So my sister's paying the man now, the house. It's under her name, but she has the lien with him, and he financed the 177,000 with a mortgage for 10 years. So I got 7 years and a half to go, or so, or between 7 and 8 years to go, and I still own it. And this is my my current salary. I have like I mentioned in the other videos, I have 4 employees that run it full time, and I oversee it. And this is where I'm getting my my salary every week, and this is what I live off, basically, off of the convenience store. Excuse me. So once I was in the store, I started to make good money in the store. Thank the Lord. And on Craigslist, no, this wasn't Craigslist. I'm sorry. This was actually in the Laredo Morning Times. The Laredo Morning Times, they were selling a house for I think it was 33,000. 33,000. The owner was an older lady. She had passed away, and the grandson didn't want anything to do with the house. He didn't live there, so they just wanted to get out of the house. So I offered them 30,000 cash to buy it, and they agreed. So I believe I had to take out. I had $20,000. I don't ask me from where. I don't remember from where. But if I go back, it's probably in here from where I got the money. But I had $20,000 and $10,000. I think I asked for a loan. I think a $10,000 loan. Yeah, I don't remember exactly where I got the 30,000, but it was, I think it was 20 that I had, and 10 I borrowed. 10 I borrowed from the convenience store, and because I keep all my bank accounts separate. My real estate is one account, the store is one account, my personal is one account, savings another account. I have an account called escrow, and that's where I put the money for the taxes also, and the insurance. So I think I borrowed 10,000 from the store, and the other 20 I think I had them from another property that I had sold. And I renovated the property because it wasn't in terrible condition, but it needed, I think I put like around 3,000 on the house, materials and labor. I hired somebody, and I sold it for 80,000 in I believe in 2 months. I sold it for 80. So I profited around 50,000, 47,000 if you subtract the renovations, maybe a few less if you subtract taxes and the holding cost. So they gave me 10,000 down, so I recouped 10,000, and the 70,000 they I owner financed it at a 12.75% interest rates. So it's a high rates, but I told them that would be the only way I would finance the house. I wanted the money cash, so they agreed. But they were able. They have been able to pay $2,000. So I gave them a short mortgage, around a 3-year mortgage, owner finance mortgage, at a 12.75% interest. But they're paying $2,000 a month. So they're gonna be out in 3 years and 10 months. So I think they have like 2.5 more years to go. So this is in yellow once again because it's a property that I already sold, but I'm currently receiving money from. Apologize, guys. I know it's 25 minutes into the video. We're almost finished. So property number 10, I bought it once again. From an investor that sold me property number 3. He sold me property number 3, and he also sold me property number 10. The same investor. The property was rented for $600 per month before it was sold. I bought it for $30,000. He wanted $10,000 down. So he financed the $20,000. I was paying him for a few months, and then a guy came. I put it on Craigslist and Facebook Market and several places, and I found a buyer that gave me. I sold it for $56,000. He gave me, how much did he give me? He gave me $20,000 down. So what I did with the 20, I was able to pay out the investor. I think I owed him like 19 and change. So I only kept like $800, but the whole $36,000, he's gonna pay me $800 per month. So all of that is gonna be my profit. So I profited 26. He's gonna pay me $36,000 in payments. So $10,000 is gonna be what I invested, and the 26 is gonna be profit. So this I'm still receiving $800 a month from this property and $2,000 from this property. Number 11, Independence. This property, I bought it from another investor, which is the investor that sold me property number 2. This is a double white. I bought it for $70,000. I still own it. I have it rented through Housing Section 8. I got a 15-year mortgage. I'm not gonna pay it in 15 years. Once I pay off another property, I'm gonna snowball and put the money into this property so I can pay it off sooner. I bought these 2 properties together, 11 and 12, from the same person, $70,000 for each. They're both double whites in the same area, same neighborhood. But this property is in yellow because I sold it. I was renting it for $1,100 also per month, but I put it on Craigslist, and I sold it. I sold it for $90,000. Basically cash, you can say, because it was like a 5-month or 6-month mortgage. Right now they only owe me about $11,000 or $12,000 from this property, and it should be paid off this coming month. So you can say I made about, I want to say about $15,000 because I put some renovations on it. So it was a quick flip and made some good money. Not a lot, but about $15,000. Number 13, St. Pius. Bought it from the investor that I bought Bristol and the other property. I'm sorry. This property I bought it together. These 3 properties I bought them together. I currently own. I have it rented for $11.50 per month. I bought it for $100K, and I still own it. So this property is once again another property that I'm not cash flowing. I'm probably paying taxes and insurance, about $200-300 a month on this property. But my plan is to pay it off soon, so I can start cash flowing the whole rents. I don't wanna be. I don't want 30-year mortgages and collect 200